Hello everyone, this is Anomaly. Thank you for checking out the $5 Journey YouTube page. Also remember to check me out on Twitter at Anomaly 197711. That's 11, my birthday month, November, and 1977 is my birthday year. So check me out there. You can also check me out on Twitter. I think I just said Twitter. I'm sorry. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out on Facebook also at the $5 Journey page, and of course here on YouTube. I'm actually out here in Atlanta. It's kind of weird. I don't know when you guys are going to be watching this video, but it's December 2017. I came out here lacking in preparation. I ended up bringing a lot of short sleeve stuff, and it is cold. It's actually colder here than it is up north. And to top it off, we're getting snow today too in Atlanta. So, last time I saw snow in Georgia, it looked like a scene from the apocalypse or something like that. Cars are trapped all over the place. It was only like a couple inches of snow, but anyways, other than that, Georgia's a great place to be. Wonderful hospitality that I've received here. I'm actually here for a convention. It's a convention for people who work in the cancer field, I guess. Whether they are scientists who are working on new treatments or continuous treatments to try to help cancer patients, all kinds of cancer patients, or whether you're a physician, you're a doctor who is treating patients who might be affected, unfortunately, by cancer. There are different kind of device companies. There's technological advances that they're making that they talk about. So it's one of those kinds of things. And I wanted to really just do a short video on debt, on good debt versus bad debt. I know I always say it's a short video and then it's end up being like 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. So this one I'm really going to try to keep short, okay? I promise. So there's a misconception. There's good debt and then there's bad debt. A lot of times what we do is we tend to look at debt as just this one bad, ugly monster. Now, before I completely go into everything, I just want to throw out a disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I am not a stockbroker. I am not an accountant. I went to school. I have actually 2 graduate degrees that have to do with sciences. So one's in the business aspect of science, and the other one is in just the science aspect of science. Okay, and then my undergraduate training was also in sciences too. My undergraduate academic training. So I want to throw that disclaimer out there. I'm just a person who has a heart for helping people. And I see that, with people living paycheck to paycheck, people not being able to retire, people having to come off of retirement to work jobs because, they can't afford the health care that, a sick spouse needs, or it's all kinds of things. People getting thrown out of their homes, foreclosures, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of issues. So I see that there's a need to help. And I'd like to just share, some of the things that have worked for me, that you can see that reflected in the book. You can see it reflected on the YouTube and Twitter, pages and channels, as well as Facebook. So, that is it. So what I say is my opinion. It's based off of my experience. It is not based off of any sort of formal, academic education. Okay. I've been trading stock since I was 18 years old, stock options as well. I think the first stock I bought was probably an AOL, maybe Yahoo, I'm not sure, I can't remember. Been trading stock options also, started that a long time ago. Recently, I got involved in cryptocurrency over the past couple of months. It's done extremely well. I think, at this point in time, the big talk is about Bitcoins, but there's other coins out there actually. So anyways, but I want to talk about good debt versus bad debt. All right. And I already gave the intro that, we tend to throw all debt into one category, which is all bad. All right. Now, what do I mean by bad debt? Okay. Bad debt, and this is my meaning, my definition. Bad debt is anything that pulls money, that pulls resources from you on an ongoing basis. So what would that be? That would be, here's an example. If you went out and you bought the new Range Rover or something like that, and it's however, I don't even know how much Range Rovers are, $70,000 or something, like $80,000 maybe. You bought the new Range Rover, and it does not, and you have to pay money out every month to make the car payment, to upkeep it, that kind of thing. That I would consider bad debt, because the Range Rover is not adding any value to your finances. It's not bringing money in. Now, how would that be good debt? Okay, so let's just say that same Range Rover, you bought it. Let's say it is worth, let's say you bought it for $70,000, right? And you're making, I don't know, you're making payments of $1,000 a month on it. Okay, let's use that as an example. But you use the Range Rover for, let's say you decide to start your own private, chauffeur business. Okay, and let's say, and you're using that Range Rover to drive clients around and things like that. And let's say you're bringing in $6,000 a month off of that business. Well, you're paying out $1,000 a month in debt, but you're bringing in $6,000 a month for your own income. So I would consider now that Range Rover has moved from being bad debt to being good debt, because the bad debt was when you were just paying out the $1,000 a month and that was it. There was no extra money coming back in. The good debt happened because you decided to open up a car service, or some sort of shuttling business, or vehicular kind of business. And now, you're still paying out that $1,000 a month, but you're also bringing in $6,000 a month. Okay, so that means that your net return, your total profit, is $5,000 a month after everything's all said and done. So then you multiply that out over 12 months, so $5,000 times 12. Well, you've made $60,000 off of this vehicle, off of this, and I would consider that an investment. So that would be considered good debt. Another thing is, and just to share, and this will be my last story, and then I'll tune off. Another example, I guess, of good debt would be, and this is a real life example that I'm going to share. So I have a property that I decided to use for Airbnb. Now, the Airbnb, in order to get it up to the standards that I wanted it to be at, I had to invest probably about $14,000 into just making it look nice, getting things, to a point where people actually would take a look, and they would say, I want to stay there, and I'm willing to pay money to stay there. So I had to put money into it. So that was about $14,000 in debt. Well, since I put that money in and everything, was done to the place, to the apartment, it's been able to bring in about $2,000 a month in extra income. And that's after, I buy like cleaning supplies, and, I pay the cleaner and all that other stuff who comes in. By the way, the cleaner gets paid make sure that if you start a business, don't underpay your employees. Don't do that. Don't be a jerk about things. Pay them a livable wage, because you will increase productivity. Okay, you'll increase, having a positive attitude. Yeah, I know money shouldn't drive that, but if people have to go from, if you're paying them $7 an hour or $7.50 an hour, and so they have to, work that job, and then they got to go and, work at Walmart for their $8 an hour and work someplace else, all to add up, that exhausts people, that wears people out. So, do your best to be able to pay them, pay your workers something that they can actually live off of. Okay, so anyways, So after I, pay the person who cleans, after I put out money for cleaning supplies, all that other stuff, I'm still bringing in, I'm netting $2,000 a month. Okay, after all of my expenses, just from that Airbnb. Now I put out $14,000. So the $14,000 is, I would consider that good debt, because what it did was it brought me in $2,000 a month. Now, since I started, I've already, not only have I paid that debt off because of the revenue that came in, right? That $2,000 extra a month went to pay that off, but now I'm making money on top of that, all right? And it's considered a fairly passive cash flow. So I don't really have to do too much with it except, send out an IM or I say IM, an instant messenger. Listen, I'm in work mode. I'm sorry. Send out a text message or something on the Airbnb application, if people have some questions or whatever. But really, it's minimal. I mean, maybe I put in, an hour's worth of work every month, to get that $2,000. So that would be considered good debt, because I put out the $14,000, and it wasn't even $14,000, but let's just say it was $14,000. And in return, I'm getting approximately $2,000 every single month with minimal effort on my part. Okay, and I'm able to create a job for somebody and pay them a livable wage. Okay, so keep that in mind. Good debt versus bad debt. Yes, I do understand there is a need to, to bring down overall debt. So for instance, people who are living off of credit cards, they their pay is not enough, or how their budgeting is not efficient, and so they end up having to pay out money, and then they have to pay interest on top of the money that they use from that credit card or line of credit or home equity line. So there's that kind of debt, which is which I would consider bad debt. Okay, reading the $5 journey, I tried to make it simple so that you can see that, purchasing a car, or getting a more expensive apartment for the use of Airbnb, or purchasing a car to use for Turo or for ride share, or for your own limo service or something like that. Those are things that will add value to you. Okay, and that's what I talk about with with compound hustle, right? Being able to add value, doing things that are going to add value to your revenue stream. Then taking that cash flow and putting it into an investment vehicle that will then further work. And now that is completely passive, where you're putting it into a REIT, a real estate investment trust, where it's giving you 8% interest, where you're putting it into a lending club that's giving you anywhere from 10 to 20% interest on the money that you put into, whether it's putting it into cryptocurrency or Bitcoins. Whereas my last time I checked was last night, where I've seen over 200% growth in the money that I've put in. So it's doing that. So try not to look at debt as all being bad, but separate it into good debt versus bad debt. Okay, but be truthful with yourself. If you know that you're paying that $70,000 for that Range Rover, and doggone well you're not going to start a car company or a limo service or a taxi service with it. Don't say, oh well, I'm justifying this purchase, because I am, because I'm gonna, get a limo service later on. Okay, don't lie to yourself. Okay, that's how you get in trouble. All right. Thank you again for checking me out. Hopefully this video was helpful. Make sure that you, hopefully you like it if that's your thing. And subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the page. You got me on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm always fine if you want to leave some comments. Let's talk about some things. Also, if you have any questions, if you need anything, if you have any ideas you want to shoot off me, check me out. I'm gonna put my my email address in the information below, but it's anomaly1977@outlook.com. Okay, but I'll put that in the caption below. Thank you. Take care.